Alright, a little tough to see. This is my very first Tesla coil. It is a tiny little bugger based off of a couple of AA batteries, a fly swatter circuit. I'm going to turn the switch on here. You can see the spark gap there. I'm getting a little tiny bit of. Here's a little better look at the setup instead of in the dark. Basically have, that's my toroid, little shoe polish can, but I have a coil with about 205 windings on it, which is not, this whole setup is not tuned very well. Then I tried various taps on this primary coil, but just some copper wire made into a coil, and I've got it at about 1.5 turns out right now. I've tried it in a few different places. This seems to be the optimum for this setup. And that's running to a little MMC capacitor bank. My spark gap is just a couple of nails, and then the guts of a fly swatter, electronic fly zapper. Put a switch on there and running it off 2 AA batteries. One thing that I did notice is that I had to elevate this primary coil when I had it down on the very base like this. I was not getting very good coupling, so it seemed like the optimum level was above the bottom of the secondary coil by quite a bit. Also noticed that when I touched the toroid, or even up here, I would get some arcing to my finger, but I could not feel any voltage. However, when I was going to pinch these 2 nails together a little bit, that gave me quite a bit of a jolt. So even with this tiny little couple AA batteries, I felt that pretty good. This wire right here is basically the other end of my secondary coil. It just kind of goes through the bottom, and that's what I was using to create the little tiny bolts of lightning earlier. I will probably do some changes to this to try and tune it a little bit better. I'd like to get some more windings on that secondary. With only a couple hundred on there, I think it's pretty weak. My output might be a bit better if I had 500 or closer to 1,000 turns on there. So this is kind of a work in progress, but this will hold me over until I'm able to get more progress done on my bigger Tesla coil. So here's some of what I was working on with the bigger one. I've got a primary winding there. That may change a bit. I also have my secondary with a toroid on the top. And it's basically got some pie tins sandwiched between this flexible dryer vent material. I've got about 830 turns on this 3-inch PVC, and the bolt on the bottom and the top are connected to the 2 ends of this coil. This is my NST transformer, neon sign transformer. It's a 12,000 volt, 30 milliamps, so probably on the small side, but it's all I have right now, other than some microwave oven transformers, which I don't think I will use at the moment. This will probably change, but this was my first attempt at a spark gap. Again, these are my microwave oven transformers and a bunch of capacitors out of microwave ovens. I don't think I'll end up using these, but you never know. This is my capacitor, not finished yet, but it's going to be a saltwater capacitor. Got the bottles emptied out. There actually is brine inside the 5-gallon pail, but I'm waiting for some corks before I put it all together. Got some motor oil to top it off with, and my brass or my copper little U connectors that'll run from bottle to bottle. This is my strike rail. Again, I'm not sure if I will use this. It may be a little bit too small if I end up with more windings on the primary coil. And this is my Terry filter. It is not complete yet. Still have some big resistors to add, as well as the connections from the NST and the safety gap and the connections to the spark gap. But it's a work in progress. Got all the connections soldered. Just like I said, waiting for a few parts to get here before I can finish this up.